E39 source, Ryan Schultz here. This is my 2000 BMW E39 M5 in Silverstone Metallic, first edition. And this is going to be a full, kind of almost like an intro video to the channel. Got a couple requests on a few videos ago that they wanted to see the car in detail, so that's exactly what we're going to do here today. Today's Sunday, July 28th, 2013, marking 3 years and 1 day of my ownership with this car. I bought it with 147,400 miles. Today we're at 177,400 miles. 30,000 miles in exactly 3 years. One of those should flip that on for me. There we go, 177. That's a big number, and this car has seen a lot of work. Nothing ridiculous, mostly just common E39 maintenance. But I thought we would do almost a full tour here, similar to what the other new users to the channel have done. I'm going to start with some paperwork here. Sorry if it gets a little boring, but this is actually the folder that I keep on the car. All the information. I did get full service history, both keys, the book, an extra set of front wheels in factory finish that the previous owner used on the back of the car in the winter. Here in northeastern Ohio we have pretty rough winters, and as far as I know this car has seen all 13 of them. And there is a little bit of damage to show from that, which we'll talk about later. But this is the book. Actually starts out, or this is my folder, actually starting out with the original book on the car that you would have picked up in a dealership 13 years ago. I can go through this in another video in detail if anybody is interested in seeing the kind of stuff that they did put together in this kind of advertising book. I have the title here and some insurance information. I'm going to throw that out of the way for this, but this is the original window sticker. 2000 M5 options we have here. The MSRP, just base model, would have been $69,400. Silverstone Metallic, Silverstone Extended Leather Point Interior. I do have the fold down rear seats with the ski package. We have the park distance control, which on the 2000 model is only in the rear. Gas guzzler charge, destination charge, so that brings it up. It's a little hard to read. I believe it's 72,950 or something like that for the total. But it's nice to have that. Tons of insurance information in there, and then the rest of the records on the car. And when I say records on the car, I mean everything. I have receipts for oil that was in this car 3 years ago. I can probably get rid of a lot of that. I have receipts for all of the wax that's been on this car. Only Zano products in my lifetime ownership of the vehicle. Headlight bulbs, tail light bulbs, any little piece, any little clip, any little rivet that I've purchased, that light I replaced. You may remember that video. I have the frickin' receipt for that. The next owner may not care about any of that, but it's, I don't know, I have the folder, so why not throw it in there? But it is nice to have everything on this car. I have the full detail of everything that's been done. It's on clutch number 3. The first one was replaced at 4,500 miles under warranty. I don't know what was wrong with it. I guess the dealer wasn't satisfied. The second one was done at 109,000 miles in 2007. At 177 now, I'm probably looking at my fourth in the next 10, 20,000 miles, which I don't really want to talk about. So it's all dealer service records, as far as I know, and well, which is pretty far back. Any bit of substantial service this car has had has been done at one of 3 BMW dealerships, all within a 35-minute drive of me, which is nice. There's been very few independent shops that have worked on this. The windshield was done by a place in Akron, Ohio. That was replaced about 2 years ago. Had a little chip in it, so I just went ahead and replaced it. Other than that, tires and stuff have been done locally, but everything else has been done at a dealer, which is nice. So we'll take a look inside. This car has been mostly facelifted, with the exception of the steering wheel that BMW added in 2003. I do have the navigation. I have a Mark IV computer in the rear. That's the 16:9 display in here. You can see the seats are the black and gray two-tone leather, and the Titan line aluminum trim, which I really like. I did end up replacing the center console trim. You may remember that video quite a while ago. That's a new piece. Replaced the shift knob. Couldn't find an OEM E39 M5 handle, so that's actually off the E52, I believe, Z8. Replaced the leather boot, this little thing here. Most of the stuff I do have videos about, so if you're interested, look on the channel. Cup holders, E39 cup holders suck. I replaced those as well. Floor mats, OEM M5 floor mats. Door sills are still original. It's not the full extended leather package, even though the build sheet says so. Like my dashboard doesn't have the stitching on it. It's a little dusty in here, sorry about that. But it is just the basic dashboard, lower dash, glove box. None of this is stitched leather, but still a step up over your 5 20, I guess. Here's a look in the back seat. I like to think the car's pretty clean given the mileage. Of course, same leather and trim options back here. Replaced those floor mats as well. Could use a little bit of a vacuuming. I did detail the exterior yesterday. I haven't gotten everything in here yet, but I do use Zano Z9 and Z10 leather products and conditioners. And those split down seats, it's got a lock there if you want to lock it, but they just work like that. As you can see, I need to vacuum the trunk there. But they do give you quite a bit of extra room in here. It's a 60-40 split. I could pull that handle and the rest of it would come down, leaving me a pretty nice, big, large cargo space back here. I've actually carried really large photos or pictures to hang on your wall that I bought locally around here. Ski package looks like this. You get a nice piece of leather here. You'll notice that that's really thin in comparison to E39s that don't have the ski package. It's in there. It's just a bag that folds out. I've never used it because, quite frankly, this would be a horrible car to go drive in the snow and try to go skiing with. Wheels are original, and as far as I can tell, original factory finish. They're actually in pretty good condition regarding the miles as well. I did do a full wheel detail on this car a couple months ago. Since I washed it yesterday, though, I've got a little bit of brake dust and actually rust from the rotors on the surface of the wheel right now. The lugs I painted black a couple weeks ago just to freshen that up, and I am planning on replacing these wheel center caps with what they would have used on a 2003 M5, which is quite refreshing over that cheap piece of plastic in there. So stay tuned for that video. Tires. I use Michelin Pilot Sport All Season Plus tires. I would love to go with the Pilot Super Sports. They're actually cheaper than these, but living in Ohio and I do have to drive the car in the winter, I need the all season tires for now. However, that will change. Factory size in the back is 275/35 ZR18. High speed rated, of course, being that kind of tire. I notice they don't last as long as I'd like them to, and I don't drive the car that hard, but they are a sports tire. Fronts are stock 245/40 ZR18s. Part of the facelifting that I did, in addition to the navigation system, there's videos on that as well, and the headlights, there's headlight videos. These are the Hella OEM facelift European spec headlights. Notice the side marker here is clear, and I actually prefer that a lot to the stock US orange facelifted lights. So I put those in last fall. I do have the white halo bulbs in there, the LEDs. I think it looks really nice, of course, xenon lights being an M5. The only repainting that I've done on this car, and I would love to get a paint depth gauge sometime, play with that, see if there's anything I don't know about. The front hood, at 155,000 miles, that was repainted. Since then, it has a couple minor little chips. Of course, highway miles, there's one there, but not nearly as bad as a 177,000 mile car should be. At that time, I did replace the grills as well, the OEM M5 grills. The bumper was replaced. It is not an OEM bumper. I do regret that decision. And we see 3 marks here. The 2 there, you can thank the Baltimore Beltway for that, and some moron in a Honda Civic, and then that would have been from the Akron Expressway Route 8. I need to get some touch-up paint for that. Fog lights were replaced along with the bumper, and I do not have a front license plate because they look like hell. And you don't need them in Ohio anymore. The car's pretty straight. There are a few door dings. We can see here there's kind of one in the center of the driver's door. You can just barely see it right by that tree there in the middle. The back door has 1 or 2. Since I did the full clay bar, I've actually clay barred this car twice and used only the Zano Z2, Z5, Z6, Z7, and Z8 products on the paint. It feels just like the 2013 M5 in my local BMW dealership on the showroom floor for $109,000, so I like to show people that. I also facelifted the rear lights to Hella European spec retro kit lights that actually fit the 2000 model. So if you have a 97 to 2000 528, 540, or a 2000 M5, they're fairly simple to add. I have a video on the channel about that. You do need a ballast in the back. The kit comes with it, and it certainly gives the car a really nice updated look. There are the 4 LED bars that look identical to the stock Hella lights that Hella made for, these are Hella lights, but they look identical to the ones that would have come on the 2001 to 03, 525, 530, 540, or M5, minus the fact that they don't have the 4 LEDs right here for the side, and personally, I like it better without it. The back bumper is easily the worst condition piece on the car. Just banged up a little bit. Nothing too bad. There's no cracks or anything, but the paint isn't in perfect shape. We have a couple scuffs on this side. I have taken time to detail the exhaust in and out, so that looks pretty nice. And if you'll notice, one of my parking sensors does need some paint. In the back, I've taken the time to replace the M, the 5, and the actual BMW badge. They were all kind of faded, so I just went ahead and threw some new parts on there. The license plate frame is also actually hard to find. I don't know why. The silver OEM, BMW, whatever, manufacturer, M5 frame without the black in the background. With a light car like this, I like the silver one, and I'm really anal about that. So I actually found that at one of my local dealers and picked it up. The only one I've seen since was in San Diego, and my friend bought it. You'll probably notice here, you can thank Ohio Winners for that. I plan on having that fixed soon. It's 300 bucks, the whole underside here. He said he's just going to pull these lights out. Speaking of which, these are aftermarket LEDs. A little brighter than I probably would have preferred, but I really like the color temperature. It looks almost identical to a new F10 5 Series if I were to park this next to that at night. But that will be fixed. It's not a big deal. I also had a little bubble over here that was repaired and resprayed. You may be able to see the respray isn't perfect, but that's okay because I'm going to have the whole trunk lid repainted when he does that. We'll peek inside again where my books are. I actually have just an extra passenger floor mat in here to kind of protect the carpeting a little bit. It's probably unnecessary, but I just threw that in there. You can kind of get an idea of the 60/40 split fold there with the pass-through for the ski bag. Those are the DSP subs up there. There's two small ones built in a Nokia rear deck piece there. Sounds okay. It's not incredible. It's not a B&O sound system from an F10 M5 for sure, but it's miles better than the non-DSP system this car or the E39 was offered at. That's the Mark IV. I have the 2013 map disc in there, the East version. CD changer, 6-disc, everything back here works. There's no issues. It's the back of the headlights, or tail lights rather. That's that ballast I'm talking about right here. I mounted it on the back of the CD changer. Over here, not so much for my use, but somebody else. Jumper cables, fuses. No rust in here, everything's nice and clean. Tools, I have, I believe, almost every tool that this car should have come with. Firstly, you'll notice that the tow hook is missing. I have it, a friend has it right now. His E39 needed to be towed, so I lent it to him. So I do have it, I just don't have it in the car right now. I do have both wrenches there, Allen keys, the tool for the wheels, some dynamite back there. There's the key for my wheel lugs, extra third brake light bulbs, screwdrivers, whatever the hell that is, some pliers. So as I said, I have that. The only thing I'm missing is whatever fit in there, and I don't think I've ever seen another E39 with it. So that's kind of strange. And anybody that cares, I do actually have that. Something only I would notice and that I actually really like about the car is I can just drop the trunk lid down, hold it 1.5 inches above the taillights, and just drop it. And it drops right into place. It's not one of those ones that you have to damn near sit on to get the trunk to close properly. My gas lid here is actually pretty clean. If you're familiar with E39s, you'll know a lot of them get some pretty bad rust here. You can definitely see I have some bubbling there on the weld, but for being a high mileage old Ohio car, it's pretty good. I do try to detail that every time I wash the car just to keep it nice and clean. Actuator works, and I am missing the little tie there that is supposed to hold this, so maybe something I'll care enough about in the future to fix, but for now, it works fine. My passenger side mirror glass actually has a broken seal in it right now. You can see the auto-dimming chemical starting to leak in there. It's not bad enough yet that I'm willing to spend the $376 the dealer wants for the OEM glass in there. And I'm not just going to put on a cheap piece of glass that won't dim or be heated. So I will fix that in the future, but for now, it's not bothering me that much. Take a quick condition shot of the driver's area here. Driver's door, pretty good, not perfect. We've got a little bit of rub rash there, I suppose. I try to keep that conditioned fairly well, though. The only piece of trim here on the doors that I would consider replacing is the driver's piece, which looks like it got water in there at some point. And the 5 there, as you can see, the finish isn't right on it. But I can only find the whole set, and they're several $100s, so I don't really want to do that right now. Do need to vacuum this out in here. It's a little dirty back there by the pedal. I apologize for that. Steering wheel stitching still nice and visible. The gauges in here I had replaced through BMW. The pixels were, became an issue like they do on many E39s, so now they are actually perfect. Every one of them works, and that cost about $400, which sucks. We'll do a little start. A little bit of Vanos rattle there. Sometimes it's worse cold. We'll do a second start here just for fun. Get a listen. And there's none at all. So if it sits for a little bit and it's warm, that's how it is. If it sits and it's warm, then you get a little bit of rattle, but not too bad. At idle, we'll open the hood in a minute. You'll definitely hear that. But since it doesn't affect performance, reliability, anything, I'm not going to worry about it for the time being. This is the Mark IV with the latest up-to-date navigation software on here, version 32. You check that by going into settings, look in your top right. That's a Mark IV, that's what the 4 means. 1-00 is version 32. Split screen navigation if I were to turn that on, and the perspective 3D view maps. And it's actually really fast. You can see here how quickly it goes through everything. The factory Mark II that the car came with was not at all this fast. It was actually really, really slow. So that was a nice upgrade. Pretty expensive, but I was able to pick these parts up from eBay. They are secondhand, but aside from a tiny bit loose volume knob, they're fine. So no worries there. I don't have a sunshade package, so we just have the heated seats. Both function perfectly. Sport button, DSC button, all of those systems work, so no fourth button there for the sunshades, which I'm actually glad I don't have because they all seem to break anyways. And since I did replace my cup holders, they work great, and they even stay shut all the time. Factory exhaust system is pretty quiet, pretty tame. I mean, you're not really going to hear anything too intense if you're looking for Brittleman or Eisenman, but it definitely doesn't sound like a Camry, so that's good news. My auto-dimming mirror about 2 years ago got a really nice big bubble in the top of it. Hot day in the sun, the seal broke. I have a video on the channel explaining that. Sent it to radarmirror.com. They replaced that. Good as new. We do have an Alcantara headliner in the car. Came factory. I know some actually didn't have that. I thought it was standard on M5s, but apparently not. Mine has that. I added the home link here for the garage door opener. There's a video on that as well. Works perfectly, easily one of the best mods I've done. Really simple, not even expensive, it's pre-wired. The worst part, I had to buy this Alcantara piece of trim with the actual cutout in it. That probably sent me back about $70, but the rest of that was really easy. I don't know why so many E39s have sunroof problems. We need a key for that, but mine works, well, wrong way. Mine works completely fine. As far as I know, there's never been any service to it, never any broken parts. It opens and closes by itself. It does squeak a little bit when it shuts, you'll hear. Like that, and it will tilt just fine. I'm really happy that this car does not have any lights on. It doesn't have seats that twist. It doesn't have those common little issues like the bubbled mirror that a lot of E39s have. I've taken a lot of time and spent a lot of money to smooth all of this out so this car runs and functions very smoothly. We'll start the car here. All of those lights go off. There's no check warnings on the check display, which I'm going to have to fasten a seatbelt for. Then you press that right pusher, and it'll tell you if you need oil, tire defect, anything like that. And my check control's fine. I can drive the car 100 miles, 1,000 miles, and knock on wood, everything's fine. We'll pop the hood. I know you're interested. I just know it. We'll take a look under here. This is, of course, BMW's S62, 4.96 liter V8. Right there. Not perfectly detailed right now. I would like to actually take the intake off and kind of go over those hoses and those plastic pieces a little bit, shine them up. Don't worry, no armor, I'll touch this. My sound ender is in place. Probably seen better days, but it still works, so we're going to leave that. I do have K&N oil gauzed filters in there, which I did notice a performance and sound difference with, so I like to keep those nice and clean. Everything under here is, as I've said before, surprisingly clean for a 2000 Ohio car. The previous owner, I think, took really good care of this, kept it clean. It's always been garage. The only nights it's spent outside is when I visited Colt in Baltimore. That was for, what, 2 or 3 nights. It's always used 93 octane gas, 10W60 Castrol synthetic TWS Motorsport oil. The most it's ever gone was about 9,000 miles. I like to do it around 5. So little things like that make a difference with the car for sure. Hood sensor, I replaced that. Probably remember that video. Real quick, you'll notice this car also has all of the original stickers here. There's no accident history. There's nothing in Carfax. That's still in place, so this piece we know is original. The hood is original. You'll find these original stickers here for the color. The BMW Silverstone Metallic color code is 425-7. There's the catalyst sticker, and should you take off the rear license plate, you will find the VIN number sticker. So that's an original rear end as well. Back of the headlights here, you can see they're not the 2000 headlight. They're the Hella, and they are Hellas. You can see the sticker right there and some part numbers, I'm sure. Those are the LED bulbs, which we probably won't be able to see during daylight. In my ownership, we've done a lot with this car. 4 struts, 2 springs. The rear springs, they said, needed to be replaced. They said the front ones were totally fine, so we left those. All 4 struts, OEM parts. The rear springs, several sets of tires. We've done all of the brake pads, fluids, coolant flush, brake fluid flush. Several pieces of interior trim have been replaced. Windshield, spark plugs, all 4 O2 sensors, the 2 pre-cat and 2 post-cat. The DMTL pump in the fuel system, or in the fuel tank, needed to be replaced. We did that. The DME box lid cover was replaced at the same time. I've also replaced a lot of parts with the cooling system. We did the radiator, we did all the radiator hoses, thermostat, and water pump in my ownership. So it'll be nice. I'll be good with that for a while. Also did the camshaft position sensors on the intake side of things. The exhaust ones were done previously. Rear ball joints have been done. Control arms, all of that I haven't had to touch in my ownership yet, which is probably good news. I'm sure that'll need it. Ball joints were done. This car does have a couple pending jobs that it needs, like we talked about. A little bit of rust back here on the trunk lid. We'll take care of that. The passenger side wing mirror, we talked about that. And when it's hot out, say 75 degrees or more, the engine's at full operating temperature, there's a little creak coming from something in the front suspension steering. I'm thinking it could be a tie rod, so we'll have that looked at, and we'll figure that out as well, I hope. Sitting in the passenger seat, nice and comfy. It does have lumbar, both driver and passenger seat. Tire pressure monitor, if you don't know, I believe that came standard on an M5. Maybe somebody knows, was that an option on the standard 5 Series, the TPM, this button right here? I actually don't know, so maybe one of you will. Glove box. Yeah, we're being pretty thorough here in this video. I replaced the glove box strut several months ago. That's a horrible job. Mine actually broke, so I wanted that to be right. I do have the factory original books in here. Pretty much everything, I think, that will come with new is in here. That's the main book. The tech book for the Mark II system, service directory, a map for BMW dealers, all of that. I also keep a peak research tool in here. This is actually got a comment the other day on which one I had. It's the R5 FCX3. Plugs in under the hood. You can get an adapter to use your OBD2 port, which the 2000 M5 does have. Right over there, wherever it is on the standard E39, but I use this under the hood. Gives me more power. I can reset the check engine light, pull codes, do a lot of diagnosis stuff, which has saved me a lot of money from the dealer. There's a video on that as well. And then I also have a auxiliary thing here with a crap monster FM transmitter plugged in it that I don't use, but it turns your flashlight adapter into an extra power outlet, and I do still have the flashlight, and if it were charged, it does work, but it's been off the charger for too long, and I keep a little flashlight in there in case. We talked about the Xeno before. Let me tell you, it makes a difference. This car has been clay barred, Z5, Z6, Z2, Z6, Z8, and since then, lots of Z6 and Z8. I really only wash the car if it gets rained on, if it gets really dirty, but after that week of just road debris, a quick splash of Z6 and a towel seems to do really well. I have virtually no swirl scratches. Being a light color, of course, helps. Maybe this isn't fair since the hood was repainted. Let's go up here. This is all standard, or all original. Factory window tint, whatever that is. But I definitely stand by the Xeno. Whatever I used in the past never looked like this. I'm really happy with the way Xeno has made the car shine. There's videos on the channel detailing the whole process and how that works. Maybe we'll see a door ding over here. Kind of. They exist, guys. It's a 177,000 mile car. Can't keep it perfect, but I can keep it damn nice. We'll take a listen to the engine. I'm not going to pull the hood open again, but you will hear that slight Vanos tick, which is just the gears having play in them at low RPM. We'll come up here to the front. You probably hear that. It's pretty steady idle. If you pull it up on the display in there, it shows about 479 RPM. Pretty constant. Factory exhaust sound at idle is pretty subdued. We'll flip headlights, or we'll start with just the halos and fog lights right now. I've whited the fogs out too with 6,000 Kelvin approximately bulbs. I guess we can kind of see it during the day. They're not real bright. I went with the 5 watts. 10s are supposed to be a lot brighter. I think factory could have been 3. But that's what that looks like. I love the way this car looks at night, even during the day with its lights on. It's just really fresh, modern, classy with the nice blue paint. Love it. Flip on the xenons, they will match the color temperature perfectly. And it's nice, I got the new xenon bulbs with the new lights, so should have lots of life left with those. Back looks like this. We can kind of see the LEDs reflecting off the license plate frame. They are very bright. I don't think they're ridiculously bright. I'm pretty happy with them though. And notice what the tail lights look like. Notice without the side markers there. Aside from, of course, looking for lights inside the car, if you're looking on buying one. Speaking of which, a E39 M5 buyer's guide video is on its way. Trust me, it's a big production. It's worth waiting for though. Seatbelt lights on because I don't have a seatbelt on. But aside from that, if the car has PDC, shift it into reverse. If you get a nice long solid beep right now, that means one or more of your sensors is dead. If it does have front park distance control, press the PDC button right there. If you get that solid beep, your sensors are dead. If you don't get any beeps, then they should work. If I were to back the car up to the house, they would start beeping for me. Quick feature for you owners now. When you put the car in reverse, the passenger mirror can fold down like that. You can see exactly where your wheel is. So if you're going to back up to back into a spot or something and you want to know where your wheel is from the curb, you can get perfect parking in this car. It's really easy. Well, if you like it, you can turn it on. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. And here's how that works. Your switch over here on the console, if you move it to the left, when you put it in reverse, the mirror folds down. You move it to the right, I'm still in reverse. We'll back up here. But the mirror doesn't fold. So you can turn that on and off with that switch. Very cool. Right next to the button that on the M5 folds your mirrors up, which is also a cool feature. And both of my motors still work. So I'm happy about that. Now, let's talk numbers. This car purchased in July 2010 was $12,500. It was actually $12,900. We talked them down to $12,500. I think that worked out pretty well. 147,000 miles at the time. It was completely pre-facelifted. The bumper was the previous bumper, so it had a couple more marks on that, all the stone chips on the hood. Interior condition was fairly similar to how it is now. It needed a few pieces of trim, the shifter. It had the old navigation system in it. Since then, this car has seen about $30,000 of additional work. Now, don't freak out. A lot of that has been like the hood respray, all of that, the cooling system. Those headlights were $2,000 just for that. The tail light's about another $1,000. Add the bumper in there. That includes a couple sets of tires that the car's used. All of the brakes, we've done rotors as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. All four have been replaced. Even a lot of cleaning supplies that I've used have been factored into that. I could have gotten away with maybe only $4,000 or $5,000 worth of work. Let's face it, this car was $72,000 new. You're not going to buy it and drive it for 10 years like you would a Honda. That's what Hondas are for. You buy it, you drive it, you don't do anything to it but gas and oil and washer fluid, and it works fine. BMWs don't like that. They like maintenance. They like spark plugs. They like sensors out the yin-yang. That engine has more sensors than, I don't know, a BMW engine. That's the worst example I could come up with. But yeah, I'm never going to get what I have in it. Alright guys, this is the best possible camera angle I can get for a quick drive. It's actually wedged in between the headrest on the passenger seat, which is all the way up and all the way back. So I guess we're going to try this. Hopefully the camera doesn't fly out. We'll go for a quick little run around the block, then head home and we'll wrap up this video. You'll hear a lot of squeaks and a lot of rattles. The rear deck being Alcantara and with the split fold seat, you get noise from that. It isn't suspension components, it isn't brakes, it isn't steering. It's just the way the rear deck sits on top of the rear shelf. Makes some unsettling sounds, especially on these crap roads in my neighborhood here. They're paved cement tiles, it's no fun. Engine's warm, so we can do a little exhaust. I mean, it's a factory exhaust system. Everybody wants to hear what it sounds like. It just sounds like a V8. There's not a lot of exhaust noise. That's 55, so we'll calm down from there. Fourth gear at 40s, 2,000 RPM. If you want more driving videos, I did do a how to drive a manual video several months ago, so you can probably go find that if that's your thing. Could be in 6th gear right now. Usually 5th would be my choice. 40 at 1500. Of course, you could go to 2nd. 2nd takes you to about 60 miles an hour if you're willing to redline. At this speed, though, listen, I mean, there's a little bit of noise. If I close the sunshade slider up there, it's a little quieter. And if you want noise, all you have to do is downshift a little bit. And you get your V8 back. We'll do a little downshift rev match here from 40. Actually hit that pretty well. I don't know if you can see, but there's like 8 mosquitoes in here from filming outside. They're gonna get me, and then they're gonna die, and then I'm gonna have to vacuum them up. Try that rev match again. It's fun, right? There we go. Right down the 2nd. The great thing about an E39 M5, you turn Sport off, you leave DSC on, put it in a high gear, you've got the thigh extensions here in the seats. You roll those out. I drove this car from Ohio to New York City, Washington, D.C., Detroit. It's as comfortable as can be. I can average about 25 highway, 17, 18 city. Of course, that's driving legally. And with Sport off, it just feels calm, comfortable, as quiet as a V8 can be. But there's 2 buttons that totally change the personality of this car. DSC and Sport. DSC goes off, Sport comes on. You now have something that makes more power than a Ferrari 360 and can keep up in a 60 run. It's only 4,500 RPM. You don't really need to push it past that. This engine makes such great torque at low RPMs, it's unnecessary. Now, if I do downshift to 3rd here at 40, maybe you'll be able to hear Sport is off. I'm not going to move my right foot. There it came on. I'll probably be able to see that in the waveforms of this video. It tightens the throttle up, it tightens the steering. The entire car becomes more connected and more alive. And I love that, if you can't tell. Okay, we're approaching the homestead. I'm going to back into the garage. You'll hear what PDC sounds like. I am so lucky to have found this car in town in the decent, good condition it was in for a right price. Had the right options, the right features, and the right color. I love the Silverstone. At first, I was just under the mindset, oh, it's a light blue BMW. I'm going to catch crap from my friends for that, but not so much. Coming up in the garage here. And the solid beep should give me about a foot. We'll get out of the car and see how accurate those sensors are. That looks like 12 inches to me. Pretty good. 13 years and they're pretty accurate. This is where this car lives, backed into a decently clean garage. I keep it as clean as possible. You guys know my winter videos are pretty much only car update cleaning videos because I hate seeing it dirty. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I know I got a little carried away. It was a little long-winded. Hopefully you learned something. You finally got to see the car in complete detail. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Send me an email, ryan@e39source.com. Yes, that's a thing, e39source.com. We've never formally introduced it. Please go check it out. We have tons of write-ups, DIYs, how-to, these videos, a great number of them are on the channel. There's a write-up of this car that will probably take you a quarter of a day to read and look through hundreds of photos that I've uploaded. You can actually see exactly what it looked like when I got it and every stage in between now and then. That link will be down below. Please go check out that article. Again, thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll talk to you in a future video. Bye-bye.